Teaching your child to read doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to be tear-inducing, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I am bringing you my step-by-step plan that I use as a trained reading teacher to teach many different children to go from letters to reading in just a few simple weeks. So if you are ready, go ahead, dive into this video with me, hit the like and subscribe button. I'm going to be bringing you all kinds of reading tips and tricks and homeschooling hacks that I use as a teacher. So if you are new here, my name is Kristen Freeman. I have a bachelor's degree in education, 10 years of teaching experience. I am a homeschooling mom as well as a trained reading teacher, trained in the Orton-Gillingham methods for dyslexic and struggling readers. So I have lots of tips and tricks and hacks that I have used over the years to help kids become efficient, proficient readers who can read well, who can read fluently, who have increased their comprehension, and ultimately become better readers and writers. So let's go ahead and dive into my top tips and tricks, my step-by-step method for teaching your child to read. We will not be able to cover everything here. I will be bringing out more videos on hands-on ways to make learning fun and interactive, and what are my favorite curriculums for teaching reading, and what are my must-have tools for teaching reading. But today we're just going to be covering the basics. How do I teach reading? Where do I start? Where do I end? So let's go ahead and dive in. First of all, you are going to be teaching the vowels first. So if you are familiar with that, it is A, E, I, O, and U. Those are going to be your vowels, and they're always going to be where you're going to start because every word contains a vowel. Sometimes Y. I usually bring that in a little bit later. That can get a little tricky for kids. So A, E, I, O, U are going to be the first 5 letters that you teach. You're not going to go straight through the alphabet. You're going to teach those vowels first because letters work together to make words, and every word contains a vowel. So if they know those, they can learn to blend quicker, and when they can blend quicker, they can start reading words. So you're going to start with the vowel names and sounds. A lot of curriculums are going to tell you start with the letter names and sounds, start with just the letter sounds, start with just the letter names. You're going to get a whole host of opinions on this. My personal preference is to teach the sounds and the letters together. This makes it so much easier when you are looking at a letter and you can say, what does a letter I look like? Or what sound does a letter I make? If you are only able to say, like, this is an I, this is an I, can you write an I? Then it kind of gets a little bit more confusing when they're seeing them in different worksheets and different forms of print. So I personally like to teach the names and the sounds together. So for example, we'll say, this is A, right? A as in apple. A. What does A say? Very good. Can we think of any words? Apple, ant. Very good. And so that's how I teach them. I start with my vowels and I teach names and sounds together. You are also going to want to make sure that they can see your mouth. That is how they are going to learn the proper pronunciation. They're going to see the way your lips look, the way your tongue is. You don't have to be in their face, but they are going to want to watch your mouth, right? A, I, So then when they see that, they're knowing that they're forming the letters correctly with their mouth, and that's going to help them to articulate that sound. Step number 2, you're going to teach the consonants. Now you do want to be careful because you're going to be wanting to teach 2 to 3 letter names and sounds per week. This is not going to be super intensive. You don't want them crying because they don't want to learn. No, we're going to talk about all kinds of fun, hands-on, interactive ways to do this in a later video, but you do want to keep this short and concise, maybe 20 to 25 minutes a day, broken up throughout the day. You're going to go over letter names, letter sounds, starting with those 5 vowels, moving on to your consonants. Once they have mastered all the consonants and all the vowels, names, and sounds, then you're ready to start the process of reading. So you're thinking if you're going to cover 3 sounds a week, this part of the process is going to take you about 10 to 11 weeks, really mastering them. So you're going to start with the vowels, you're going to add in the consonants, and you're going to review them. You don't want to have letter A on day number 1, and then they don't see it again until they start reviewing. So no, at the beginning of your class, you review every name and every sound that they know so far, and then you add in the new one. So each day that part of review will get just a little bit longer, but you're keeping them fresh, you're keeping them using them. And it doesn't take a long time. You can just say, all right, A says ah, E says eh. Or you can have them hold up a card. You can put out cards in front of them and you can say, hold up ah. A says ah, hold up ah, and they can just hold up an A. And you can kind of like visually look across your classroom, or you can visually look at your child and you can see who has this correct. Do they know these letters? These are just little foam letter blocks. So you could do the same thing with this. But like, okay, show me ah. Show me O says ah. And they could just hold it up so you can see O says ah. So that's a great way of doing this. Once they have their vowels and their consonants, they are ready to start blending. So blending is when two letters work together to make a sound. And that is how I teach it. And you're going to start off with consonant vowel blends. That's why I had you teach those vowels first. And this does not have to be once they have all of them. Once they have at least one consonant and all of their vowels, they're ready to start blending. So you have taught A, E, I, O, U, and now you're teaching B and C. So once they have B and C, that next lesson, you can start blending. Okay, what does B say? B, good. What does A say? Ah, let's put those sounds together. B, ah, ba. Very good. All right, this will take a little bit of work and a little bit of practice. All right, what about the letter B? What sound does it make again? B. What about our letter E? Eh, very good. So let's put those two sounds together. We're going to make a different blend. B, eh, b, eh. Can anybody smash those together? Ready? When you're ready, smash them together. B, eh, bah. Very good. And so now you're getting them in that beginning steps of reading. They're starting to put a vowel and a consonant together to make a sound. So you are going to practice this from like week number 3 on until they have mastered the entire alphabet. So you're going to be doing letter review and you're going to be doing a few blends. You're not going to do every letter that you've learned, but you're going to do 2 or 3 letters and have them blend them with various vowels. You can even do like blending ladders. Like you can put a ladder on a dry erase board. B, a, ba, b, e, be, b, I, b, b, a, ba, b, b. And then they're going through all of those letters and they're blending the sounds for each of the vowels. And that's just a quick, easy way to have them starting those beginning steps of reading. Once you have gotten to week 8 or 10 and you have mastered all of your sounds, you have been practicing blending for about 5 to 7 weeks now, you are going to go ahead and you're going to hop into the next stage, which is tacking on that end sound. We call these CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant. So these are words like cat, dog, hop, pig, fed, dug. So words that start with a consonant, end with a consonant, have a vowel in the middle. So now, since they have already been blending 2 letters, now all you have to do is slide that last sound on there. So remember when we were blending p, I, p. Now we can add a g blick. So p, I says what? What's this blend? P. Because by this point, they've read them so many times that they're probably not going to be going p, I, p anymore. They'll probably be like p, because they recognize those 2 letter sounds. So now it's like, all right, well, we're going to do something super fun today. We're going to tack on another sound to the end. And we're going to start going from blends to words. You're reading words. You're so smart. So let's see if we can do it. Ready? P, I, P. What does G say? G, P, G. What word is this? And they're going to be pig. And they're going to be so excited because now they have read a word. So that is how you get from letters to words. That's kind of the simple strategies that I use to go from letters to words. So part number 2 of my series, which I will be bringing out very soon, is going to be going from basic words to sentences. So I will take you from how to get those CVC words into sentences so that your child is reading. But as you can see, you can go from not knowing your letters to being able to read basic words in about 2 to 3 months. If you are working on this daily and you are keeping that practice, this works for 4-year-olds, this works for early 5-year-olds. It is a strategic, effective, step-by-step method for teaching your child to read. So if this was helpful, if you enjoyed this content, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. Follow my channel for more tips and tricks. I'm going to be teaching you all about how to teach your child to read, and we're going to be having fun doing it. I'm going to be bringing some hands-on methods that you can use as well. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you join our little internet family that we have here, and I hope to see you next time. So see you then. Bye.